This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 9 and 10. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. Matthew chapter 24, verse 9 and 10. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachah Kodash. Double honors to our venerable apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Aharon coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. And I just saw a video the elder Apostle Rhyme Lab posted going into a couple of states that have basically deemed it unlawful or a crime to bring out certain verses in the scriptures that is deemed so-called anti-Sem, right? If you bring out any precepts or anything that goes into the Jays being the ones who persecuted Yahushai, right, which we know that that's not them, right, but they're trying to force it into the mainstream to create a narrative to come against the men of the Lord. Right now, over the past couple of months, we've been seeing a lot of these different countries and different states pushing strongly and heavily against the Bible. Okay, basically making it a crime to speak the words of the scriptures, because now we're at the end of this thing. Okay, and a lot of people are waking up and connecting the dots, all right, and listening to what the prophets of the Lord are saying, because everything that we're saying is all coming to pass and is grabbing attention, all right, of a lot of people. Okay, and that's slowing down these people and their so-called New World Order agenda. Okay, but this is all biblical prophecy, because Yahushua said, and I just read in Matthew the 24th chapter, that, you know, they're going to come grab us up, you know, all because we speak in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, scriptures tell you that there is no new thing under the sun, right? So this is not the first time this has happened. Okay, when you go back into the time of, I believe 64 to 68 AD, all right, Nero persecuted the Christians. Okay, we know the apostles were first called Christians in Antioch. So when they say Christians, we know what they're really talking about. All right, it's talking about the prophets of the Lord. Okay, the Israelites who call upon Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and condemn, all right, America Babylon the Great for all the wickedness and the sins that they commit on a daily basis. Okay, the sins has become a culture in America. Okay, that's the American culture, is to do what thou wilt. Okay, when you push all the way into 303, okay, you had Diocletian. All right, he also I believe he killed over 20,000 so-called Christians back then. All right, so these devils, that's back in the Roman Empire. These devils are back here again in the second leg of the Roman Empire, and they're seeing the same exact thing that was happening back then. All right, the spirit of Yahushua rising, and now they want to do something against it. And the way they're going to go about it is by pushing words, empty words like hate and anti-Sem and so on and so forth. All right, now the word, let's actually go into it, the word hate, okay, because that's going to be the topic. All right, what is hate? Okay, it says to regard with extreme ill will, have a passion or a passionate aversion to treat as an enemy. Okay, the scriptures tell you that to love the good and hate the evil. Okay, so we're doing the right thing. All right, but these devils are trying to do the opposite of that. It tells you in Isaiah the 5th chapter, the 20th verse, that what woe unto you that call evil good and good evil. All right, that put darkness for light. All right, let me actually pull that up real quick. Isaiah 5. Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 20 says, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, right? And that's what you're seeing here in America. Okay, they're turning everything upside down, and those who speak against it are labeled all kinds of names, including hateful. Okay, it says that put darkness for light and light for darkness. That's what you're seeing once again in America. Okay, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. All right, so everything is turned upside down, here in the land of treachery, all right, the land of Babylon, confusion. Okay, in order to create confusion, you gotta turn everything upside down. Okay, so let's go into this. I have a little article here I want to go into, which pretty much breaks down what's going on in America today. All right, how they plan on bringing about this draconian so-called New World Order by silencing the truth speakers. All right, and very soon, as I mentioned and is written in the scriptures, that we're going to be arrested. Some of us, not all. Right, we're going to be persecuted in the mainstream. All right, basically to stop this word from going out. Okay, so let's read. It says, control and domination through hate. Tyrannical politicians. Let me make sure I have this here on. Okay. It says tyrannical politicians are fixated on hate as they stoke its fires in their attempt to divide and conquer the people. And that's all confusion, right? When the people are together, they stand a better chance, all right, of fighting against the oppressor. Okay, that's why they use so many different things to create that atmosphere of division. Okay, and not you don't have to look any further than what you're seeing in various states today, right? This whole so-called migrant crisis is going to lead to a civil war. All right, an uncivil war, I should say. All right, it's not going to be civil. It's going to be very uncivilized. It's going to be very uncivil. Okay, there's going to be bloodshed. There's going to be, people getting raped, people getting kidnapped. All right, organs being harvested and sold. Right, you're going to see people getting missing. All right, houses being stormed into. Okay, it tells you that in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. Okay, that a man shall desire to go into a city and will not be able to. Right, neighbors going to be breaking into houses for lack of bread and for great tribulation. Okay, so we're seeing the build up to that. All right, and that's all for a reason. Okay, it says, and the complicit corporate news media is all too happy to spread the hate into the minds of a dumbed down, hypnotized populace. Okay, they have 5 steps. All right, which you've seen throughout history as tyrants have sought to control and dominate others through hate. Okay, the 5 steps are the progression toward persecution of persons is identification. Okay, the second is marginalization. The third is vilification. The fourth is criminalization. And the fifth and final is persecution. Okay, and we've seen all these steps take place over the years, but now it's going to be intensified as the truth is going global, basically. Okay, Yahushua said that the word, all right, this word, the kingdom of this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached, all right, throughout the whole entire world, and then the end shall come. Okay, so part of the end coming is them trying to do away with this truth. Okay, so identification, it says, on April 23rd, 1990, Republican President George H.W. Bush signed into law the Hate Crimes Statistics Act. Okay, and that is what you see. As a matter of fact, let's get that in the book of Revelation. Okay, let me read this and I'm going to bring it out. All right, let's finish. Let me bring it back. It says, on April 23rd, 1990, Republican President George H.W. Bush signed into law the Hate Crimes Statistics Act. The legislation mandates that the Department of Justice compile and publish, quote, hate crimes data as part of the federal uniform crime reports. What is a hate crime? Well, the definition of what constitutes a hate crime is murky. Over half of the hate crimes reported were either intimidation or simple assault, neither of which necessarily involves even being touched. Even the FBI concedes that, quote, hate crime is by its very nature often difficult to identify, end quote. Okay, so if it's something that you can barely identify, how do you call for an expansive federal solution for it? Right? How do you come up with laws against something that you can barely define? Right? Because it's all made up. Okay, and that brings us to Revelation 13, verse 11. It says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Okay, we understand that that beast is talking about America. Okay, and it says what, coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb. That two horns represents the two political parties. You have the Republican Party and you have the Democrat Party, but ultimately they're on the same lamb. Okay, which is the same system. Okay, you have, whether it be 4 years of 8 years of one party, they go out of power or out of office, and then you have the next candidate who comes in. Normally it's always a Democrat and then a Republican and a Democrat and then a Republican. Normally that's how it goes, right? The left and the right, the left and the right, the left and the right. Okay, and either way, you're taking steps left, right, all the way into a draconian system. Okay, because it says, and he spake as a dragon. All right, now how do they speak as a dragon? All right, to speak, all right, is going into their legislation. Okay, when you legislate something, right, you are making laws. Okay, when we look up, let's look up the word speak real quick. All right, it says here, to speak, it says also an Old English and Middle English as, quote, to write, state, or declare in writing. Okay, so when they sign all these legislation, right, into law, right, when they legislate all these different ideas into law, that's them speaking. Okay, and you notice when the Democrats come in, they put certain legislation in place, and then the Republicans come in and then they forward that same agenda. Okay, and as we read, you see what I mean by that. Okay, it says later, when Attorney General Jeanette Reno released FBI statistics showing thousands of hate crimes in America during 1996, she pulled the classic hat trick: cook up a crisis, expand its scope, and call for federal solutions. Okay. So now let's jump down. It says, real crimes involving violence, credible threats, or vandalism are already covered by state and local law enforcement, and identifying them is easy enough. We don't need new laws. What we need to do is to enforce current law. Okay, but they're not going to do that. Okay, because it doesn't fall under what agenda they're trying to push. Okay, they want to also redefine what is meant to hate to include sexual orientation. All right, potentially making public disapproval of sodomy a crime. Reno also called for expanded federal powers to accompany the newly expanded definition of, quote, hate crime, including 93 new hate crime coordinators nationwide whose jobs will depend on hyping the hate crime crisis. And they do that also through their media. Okay, politics and media are two ways that they forward a lot of their agenda. Okay, again, remember, it's always about public opinion. Okay, how do we influence the minds of the people? Once again, government, mind control. Okay, so let me get a quick precept, all right, because this is all leading to, like I said, the time of persecution. And our Lord Yahushua already told us that these days will come. Okay, so we're very, very close to the end, man. Okay, this is the book of John, chapter 15, and verse 18. It says, if the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. If ye were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. Okay, so we're doing the right thing. All right, if we're speaking according to the ways of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai from the scriptures, and the world is going to come against that, then that should tell you everything you need to know. Okay, that we're living in a very satanic, wicked society. Okay, and they show you that all the time. Okay, through their entertainment, so-called. Okay, their laws that they're passing now, they're using their so-called laws to protect wickedness and to silence those who speak against it. Okay, another term that they often use is so-called anti-Semitism. Okay, which is a word that really should be eliminated from the English language, like I said before. Okay, because it serves only one purpose today, which is to smear. Okay, because when an Edomite, so-called J, feel that anyone opposes any of their satanic objectives, they discredit them by, applying those words, or the word anti-Semitic or anti-Sem, or you're anti-Semite. What the hell does that even mean? And they do that through their numerous channels, that they have at their command. They have that under their control. Number one is the media. Okay, so very soon it's going to be on a whole nother level of them pushing the propaganda that those who speak from the Bible are a bunch of people who hate. Okay, and it's all projection, because the very same people who say, oh, you guys are hating, they are the ones who be coming out doing the most craziest hateful shit. They call you names, and then they turn around, they say, oh, you guys are a hate group, you guys are this is hate speech, blah blah blah, we're going to take down your channel, we're going to censor you. But yet they say the most craziest shit. People like you can't have this, people like you can't talk like this, people like you da 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 da. Well, the Heavenly Father is bringing judgment upon this place. Okay, and at that point you can't negotiate that. All right, you're not going to be able to make a law against that judgment. All right. So going back to John chapter 15 and verse 20 says, remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also. So you see that's the dichotomy right there. All right. Back in the ancient times, back in ancient Rome, all right, during the time of the Roman Empire, when Yahushua was on the scene, this is what was going on. All right. His doctrine was being looked at as hateful. Hence, they persecuted him and put him to death. And they actually went after his followers too. And those same men are back here again, preaching the same doctrine that Yahushua was preaching 2,000 plus years ago. Okay, so what should I tell you? That the same spirits are back here again, whether they're out here to persecute us or whether they're out here to listen to what we're saying. Okay, and to keep the sayings that's being spoken. Okay, which makes them of the elect. All right. Verse 21, it says, but all these things will they do unto you for my name's sake, because they know not him that sent me. All right. And very soon they will find out. You know what I'm saying? They're going to fuck around and find out. All right. It says, if I had not come and spoken unto you or unto them, they had not sinned, or they had not had sin. But now they have no cloak for their sin. And that's why they despise this truth so much, because we're revealing, all right, the things that they try to shun. Okay. They think that by us not talking about it, it goes away, but it doesn't. Okay. We're just highlighting the wickedness that you devils keep doing. All right. Scripture says, what, ye are of your father the devil. So yeah, we can call you niggas devils too. Anyone who engages in this debauchery known as the norm in America, you are a devil too. Okay. And if you don't repent, the Most High is going to jack your ass up by thermonuclear fire. And that day is fast approaching. We can't wait. All right. It says, he that hateth me, hateth my Father also. All right. So that word hate, you notice they're trying to demonize it, but at the same time, use it to their benefit. Okay. Anyways, keep going. Let's see. So the next thing that they do is marginalization, right? So the first thing is identification, right? And then when you go on I don't know if it's still up, the Southern Poverty Law Center website, I remember a few years ago, they had posted, that so-called, they call it BHI, right? But now you're starting to notice now they call us Israelites, but they do it in quotations. All right, I noticed this guy Vocab was doing that. He put whatever he does, and then he put verse Israelite. Yeah, he put it in quotations. So they're finally accepting it, but they don't want to accept it all the way. It's like there's an asterisk to this. Fucking demon. Anyway, so the next one is marginalization, right? So it says, anyone, especially those who speak the truth, known as Christians or the Israelites, the prophets, the true prophets of the Lord, who disagree with the anti-God dogma or dogma of the collectivists, otherwise known as globalists, are not to be given credibility and disparaged in public square. Okay, and that goes into something known as the diversion tactics, the Masonic diversion tactics. Okay, they have about 20 something laws on that, where they can pull any one of those, depending on the situation, to stop that kind of communication from going out. Okay. Again, it's all about public perception and public opinion. All right. How do we control the minds of the people? You know, and the further they go away from the Most High, the easier it is for them to be controlled. Okay. It says here, those who speak the truth are labeled conspiracy theorists or spreading hate speech and are banned from sharing their views on social media. Viewers of mainstream media news sources are constantly subjected to this kind of marginalization. Rather than critically thinking about an issue, you're expected to take it at face value what the talking head news reader or so-called expert tells you. Don't research it yourself, just believe the experts, right? And of course, experts, they're talking about niggas like Fauci. That's an expert. Clown ass people, man. So continue. The next step is vilification, right? So a free thinking country or nation like America, or used to be, is the single greatest obstacle to these devils and their establishment of a one world government. Okay, so that means that any of us who are pushing, all right, going against this ideology of do what thou wilt, all right, we will be looked at as a problem. You know, I mean, what's his name? This guy, Klaus Schwab. Okay, he said it straight up. He came out and he said it. Gil Bates also came out and said it. You know, that the single problem that they have right now is, you know, so-called hate speech online. And when they say hate speech, they're talking about those who are highlighting who the true devils are, all right? Highlighting the evils of this world and who's pushing it. Who's behind all this? You know, the man of sin is being revealed, and now they threatened. You see? Now they threatened, man. They're making laws against the Bible now. That's crazy. Woo. Hey, man, it's this beautiful thing. All right. There's something known as projection. I mentioned that earlier, but let's read a little bit about that as well. All right. It says, psychological projection is a theory in psychology in which the human ego defends itself against unconscious impulses or qualities, both positive and negative, by denying their existence in themselves while attributing them to others. See? For example, a person who is habitually rude may constantly accuse other people of being rude. It incorporates blame shifting. We see this psychological projection all around us today. Democrat politicians engaged in election fraud accuse Republicans of rigging the vote, of being Russian agents. Democrats receiving millions of dollars from China accuse Republicans of being on the payroll of Vladimir Putin. Democrats and the mainstream media describes violent protesters burning our cities as, quote, peaceful protesters, while conservative protesters are insurrectionists. Okay, so again, you line that up perfectly with those who hate the Bible and this and the truth will always call it, oh, that's hate. You guys are hating. No, it's just the truth. You see, it's just the truth. It says, while chanting "My body, my choice," pro-abortionists ridicule those who oppose forced Vanessas as being anti-Vanessas. See? And those crying the loudest to follow the science not only deny science, but labels anything truly scientific as fake news. See how easy this shit is to beat? That's why they don't want us here on these platforms, because we're highlighting their bullshit. Okay? We're calling them out. All right? And they can't defend it. They can't, say that what we're saying isn't true. So they just label it all kinds of shit. All right? So let's jump down a little bit to the next step, which is criminalization. Okay? It says God-hating lawmakers, right? Because we know these are all Satanists. All right, they boldly proclaim that they are Satanists. When you have Noah Harari and all these clown ass people, right, come out straight up and tell the world that they don't believe in the some God of the Bible or some God up in the heavens somewhere, They don't believe in organic. They want to make the organic inorganic. What that's anti God. Okay, that's anti God. When they're in Canada making laws against the Bible and trying to ban those who speak the Bible and highlighting the truth, what else do you need to know? Okay, again, Rome all over again, right? Remember when Claudius was in power and the Israelites were all teaching out there, raising hell by way of this truth. What did they do? They banished us. Okay, they kicked us up out of Rome. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same thing that they're gonna do again this time around, but this time is gonna be the end of it for them. All right, because they're not gonna come in on something like you guys are banned. It's gonna be we're gonna be called all kinds of names, right? And I implore you, go watch Elder Apostle Aram Lab's video. All right, it shows you this clip, all right, of a trailer. I forget the name of. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Disciples in the Moonlight. All right, Disciples in the Moonlight is a teaser trailer, and they show you that they're coming against those who are going to be speaking from the Bible. On some 1984 slash what's the other one? Fahrenheit 451 type shit, man. Burning books, all right, trying to do away with the past, all right, the truth, and so on and so forth. So it says, God-hating lawmakers have been trying to pass a hate crimes prevention act for years that includes sexual orientation, disability, and gender to existing federal hate crimes laws, expanding federal intervention, and establish unequal justice under the law. Okay, spake as a dragon. All right, legislation that are signed into law, and that's the main speaking point of the land. Okay. It says, unable to accomplish their Orwellian goals in a sweeping fashion, they instead took an incremental approach, right? Gradualism, the boiling frog method, okay? Accelerated gradualism, okay? An incremental approach of criminalizing thought crimes against sodomites, okay? They call them LGBT no IQ, okay? It says the Hate Crimes Sentencing Enhancement Act enacted into law as Section 280003 of the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1994, directed the United States Sentencing Commission to provide a sentencing enhancement of, quote, not less than 3 offense levels for offenses that the finder of fact at trial determines beyond a reasonable doubt are hate crimes, end quote. The provision defined a hate crime as, quote, a crime in which the defendant intentionally selects a victim. So again, I forget what states Apostle Ramla was talking about that basically are making it, a crime to say that the Jays, put your house out of death and so on and so forth, which again, we know is all fraudulent. But the point is they're creating this narrative of you speak the truth and you highlight certain things from the Bible, you will be deemed a criminal and you can face criminal charges. Okay, so this is nothing new. Again, this is where they actually start bringing these so-called acts into play. Okay, so it says when the defendant intentionally selects a victim, or in the case of a property crime, the property that is the object of the crime because of the actual or perceived race, color, religion, national origin, ethnicity, gender, disability, or sexual orientation of any person. In May 1998, President Clinton bypassed Congress and the American people by signing Executive Order 13087 that placed Mo's bisex, by people, right, and the TGs in a specially protected category for consideration in federal government jobs and promotions. You see that? You see that? So when the scriptures tell you that these kinds of people are not to be basically allowed in society, they ought to be put to sleep, deleted. Here it is, they create laws to protect them. This is Sodom and Gomorrah all over again. But see, when we speak about this, and again, who's pushing all this? Who's the number one people behind the scenes who's pushing all this? Who has the power over the government? Who has the power over Hollywood? Who has the power over politics in general, the money, the banking system, all these different things, the militaries, the Jays, The so-called Jays. And we're not talking about the measly regular Jays that you see in the streets left and right. No, we're talking about starting from the Rothschilds, the people known as the Zionists, right? That's a better term for them. Okay? Those who actually have the pull. All right? And in the scriptures, they're known as Edomites. All right? So that's also something they're going to deem hateful. Right? It starts off with, oh, you can't speak against this. Very soon, we can't highlight who's who. You know? Yeah, it's crazy, man. Speaking the truth now has become an outlaw. You become outlaw for speaking the truth. It's crazy. All right, but we knew this was going to happen. All right, this is where you're going to start seeing a lot of people push against what we're saying. As in, oh, I'm not part of this. You know, heresy and so on and so forth. Apostates, I should say. Okay. So let's jump down. So we had Clinton, right? So now the next person after that who encouraged a lot of this bullshit, okay, was this guy Obama. Okay. And he signed the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act, right, which made it a federal crime to assault an individual because of his or her sexual orientation or gender identity. Okay, which he's married to a nigga, right? Michael Obama is a dude, right? It says the expanded federal hate crimes measure was included in a $680 billion defense authorization bill. God, dog. You spend all this money. It's crazy, man. Which Democratic leaders in Congress intentionally did in an effort to keep Republicans from blocking the legislation. Right? It's all a facade. They're not trying to block it. They all work together. Okay? They all work together. Right? It was named in memory of Matthew Shepard, the GAY Wyoming college student who was murked in 1998. It was deleted. It says, quote, you understood that we must stand against crimes that are meant not only to, quote, break bones, but to break spirits, not only to inflict harm, but to instill fear, Obama said. Okay. So you see how they're pushing this whole thing. It's not even about physically doing anything anymore. It's about what you say, right? If what you're saying is going to cause pain and hurt somebody's feelings and emotions, we can't allow you to say these things. You see, if you're questioning anything that we're signing into law, well, you could potentially cause somebody to get radical. We can't allow these things. We need to do something about this. You see, and the next thing is going to be persecution, right? Persecuting so-called freedom of speech, which is really persecuting those who speak against the madness. Okay. It says the first victim of hate crime legislation is freedom of speech, like I just mentioned. Sodomites will use the law to persecute pastors, right? We're talking about the prophets who speak out from the pulpit calling Moses a sin. Similar laws in other nations have already resulted in the conviction of so-called bigots. Now, why are they pushing for this? Because they're the same people who are being caught and being exposed for, being with little children and so on and so forth. So in their minds, if they can criminalize those who speak against Moses, then they can group it all together and say, well, guess what? If you're speaking against Moses, then you're pretty much speaking against MAPS. They call it that, MAPS. Pedos. They're called MAPS now. Okay? Again, switching words to change the perception of it. To make evil look good and good to look evil. All right? It says a Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commission information officer has conceded that a broadcast that calls Moses an abomination would be considered to have crossed the line, especially if it warned those who engage in Mo acts would be damned to eternal perdition. Now, ain't no such thing as eternal, but they're gonna be destroyed. Okay, that's a fact and that's a given. You will be destroyed if you partake in this type of madness. All right, it tells you that in the book of Romans, the 1st chapter. As a matter of fact, let's get that. See, this is why they want to demonize the prophets. Okay, because not only are we speaking these things, we're highlighting it from the scriptures, and people are waking up to it. Okay, this is the book of Romans chapter 1. Verse 18, it says, "For the wrath of the Most High is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness, because that which may be known of the Most High is manifest in them, for the Most High hath shewed it unto them. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse." So you look at nature, right? Nature tells you that in order to have a balance or an equilibrium, you need to have good and bad, or good and evil. You need to have male and female. Okay, you need to have a balance. So when you look at nature, and for reproduction to continue to take place, you can't have two males to reproduce, neither can you have two females to reproduce. You got to have a male and a female, right? Well, these devils are saying, well, listen, that will be considered hate speech, because now a man can give birth. Nigga, what? A woman could be a man could be a woman. But yet they can't define a woman. If you are so gung-ho on creating your own shit, why don't you create a whole different gender? But you always transition from one to the other. The ones that the Most High created, you just do the opposite of that. That, again, a devil. Okay? Satan. The demons. All right? So continuing, it says, so that again, the Lord is telling you, all right, the Apostle Paul, all right, is telling you that what? That these people are without excuse. Okay? Because that verse, Romans 1:21, because that when they knew the Most High, they glorified him not as the Most High, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Their foolish minds, all right, they partake in this folly, okay, this self-destructive behavior, okay. It says, professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. And you know, and they've managed to permeate the minds of these so-called Christians. That's why modern day Christianity is nothing but paganism. Okay? Because they believe in doing whatever makes them feel good. Do whatever makes you happy. No, motherfucker. Scriptures tell you that your sole purpose is to serve the Most High, to keep his commandments. So if the world is pushing a direction of do whatever you want, and doing whatever you want is going against the scriptures, wouldn't you step against that? But these very same Christians are the ones who are going to be backing these laws to come against the prophets. Okay, because they did it back then, they do it again this time. All right, and they're going to be all swept away and wiped away in the engulfing flames very soon. All right, you being a Christian is not going to save you from the coming destruction that's going to hit Babylon the Great. Okay, it says, and change the glory of the incorruptible power into an image made like a corruptible man, and to birds and four-footed beasts and creeping things. Okay, that these images that they have, you know, they got the white Jesus and all these different things. That's you making an image of a corruptible man. All right, Esau Edom is not the Most High. Okay, the image of Cesare Borgia is not the image of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Neither is his son. Okay, you put this sodomite looking soft ass dude, God loves kind of energy out there. Well, the Most High is a vengeful power. He's a man of war. How do you get a man of war from somebody who just loves? God saves. Jesus saves. You know? Niggas make it seem like Satan got more power and he should be more feared than Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. That's insane, man. You know? But that's what Christianity will do to you. Okay? It says, wherefore the Most High also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of the Most High into a lie, and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. So, hence you have these stupid fucking laws that runs this world instead of the laws of the Bible. You know, man-made bullshit. Did not the Apostle Peter say that we ought to obey God rather than men? All right. So when are you people going to grow a backbone and stand up for what's right? Okay. Always coming against what's right. What's wrong with you people, man? Especially you jakes. You coming on brothers' comment boards saying the most stupidest, ridiculous shit. If you niggas don't repent, man. If you don't repent, guess what? Scriptures tell you in 2nd Ezra that they that consent unto them shall be had in derision. So you could talk all you want, If you're not doing the right thing according to the Heavenly Father, you're going to be cooked. Keep that in mind. All right. We're doing our part so we can receive salvation. Lord willing, we get that mercy. Most High grant us mercy and our loved ones. But for you niggas that's not doing nothing but pushing and forwarding Esau's agendas, you know what's coming. You know what's coming. All right. And the days of talking is about to be over very soon. Okay. Once they start coming up against us physically, you know it's a wrap. When they start putting laws out there, a couple of states start, it's going to permeate throughout the whole entire country and throughout the whole entire world. Okay? Romans 1 verse 26, it says, "For this cause the Most High gave them up unto vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another." That's talking about what? The happy people, so-called. Like Elder Apostle Tahar calls them. Okay? They're so-called happy people, and they're gonna be very, very sad soon. Alright? The Lord's gonna turn their stupid fucking happiness into sadness and misery very, very soon. Okay? Because those activities that they're engaging in, guess what? The Lord is cooking up some diseases. Alright? And he's going to use Esau Edom to bring that shit out and start eradicating a lot of you happy people out there. Okay? They're not putting you on a pedestal for no reason. They're building you up so they can break your ass down. All right? It says, "Men with men working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was meet. And even as they did not like to retain the Most High in their knowledge, Most High gave them over to a reprobate mind to do the things, or to do those things which are not convenient." All right? Convenient meaning is not, it's profane. It's outside the temple. Okay? It says, "Being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of the Most High, despiteful, proud, boasters." Right? They call themselves pride. They have a month for that. Right? They boast in wickedness, inventors of evil things. I mean, think about it. All these things happen here in America. Okay? Disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of the Most High, that they which commit such things are worthy of death. Right? Very soon, precepts like this will be outlawed. Right? These people who commit all this shit, they're worthy of death, but not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. So those people who go with the program, go along to get along kind of people, the Lord is going to jack you up too. Okay? But yeah, man, they're making, hate crime legislations to criminalize, those who speak against what's going on. Okay? This is also known as the thought crime or thought police. Okay? Right out of George Orwell's 1984. All right? But hey, it's all prophecy, man. It's all prophecy. All right, let's get a few more precepts and then we're going to close it out. Okay? It's the book Galatians chapter 4 and verse 16. It says, am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth? Right? So that's pretty much where we're at now. Okay? Those who speak the truth, the prophets of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, are looked at as enemies. Okay? Enemies of the state, enemies of the people, enemies of the world. Right? They call us hateful. Okay? So here we are, man. All right? Here we are. But ultimately, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is going to deliver his elect. All right? He's going to deliver his elect, man. Okay? So yeah, man, I just want to bring that out real quick. Lord willing, you were edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Bracha Kodash, the water Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. And until next time, Shalom.